Hello and welcome in. I am Miss Kinghorn and we are back here with the second part of Hakim House. This is number 122. So a couple of weeks ago we did 121. I had to think about it because they're not always the same number. And now we are just next door, and this time we are doing it as a successful businessman or person. I kind of had a different idea originally of what I was going to do for this, and you're kind of going to see that a little bit later on. But this is for 2 adults and their 2 children. One is a teenage boy and the other is a princess loving pink explosion of a daughter. So brace yourselves for that one. No, it's all good. And that's coming up later on. But we are working here on a floor plan. I've got to be fair, some of this does change. So I've taken the screenshots with this on a platform and this kitchen here, and then realised that I couldn't upload it as a whole room with it on a platform, so it had to be lower pad down again. So yeah, there's that. So some things might be slightly different in the screenshots to what it is in the actual build, but yeah, that's because I made a total rookie mistake, and I could have saved it as a separate room or uploaded it as a separate room. I had to do that with Nextdoor because it just would not let me delete walls, and I don't know why. And also I don't think people quite understood that you needed to have both parts. You needed to have A and B for that to kind of get the whole apartment. So yeah, people who have A, you need to go and get B, and vice versa. It's just one of those weird little glitches. I actually did worry when that happened that this apartment wouldn't work either, but I did end up managing to delete all of the walls, and it is now uploaded as one room to the gallery as of right now, so you can go and download this right here. But this is the sort of busy, fun kitchen in here. So I kind of said at the beginning that it was for a kind of somebody who works in business, and I kind of thought that maybe they were a musician or something like that, and maybe they've kind of aged out is probably the wrong way to put it, but they've gone from being just the musician themselves to maybe having their own music label or producing music, working that kind of style. So they've kind of gone from being the front sort of lead singer or something to actually being the person behind the scenes who runs the whole sort of music company. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But they've got a chef who sort of loves cooking, who loves entertaining, and I thought this a nice big grand kitchen just here where you come in the front door, so it's kind of right slap bang in front of you, I thought would be perfect for them in here. And yeah, I actually really like this kitchen. It's a little bit tight in places, and I don't actually add any bar stools to this, so it is kind of more of a kitchen rather than like a kitchen diner. But it works out really, really well. As I say, here is the front door and a nice little entrance sort of table here with a few little bits and pieces on, nothing too major, but just a nice little area to throw down your keys or your fan letters or magazines, put your shoes on, that kind of thing, in here as well, which I thought would be super cute. And this is something I love doing at the moment, and it's a super cute little way of doing it. So most of the books we kind of have bookends on them, but this ones don't, and they just kind of look a little bit odd that they kind of should fall over. So I figured we could use the little statue. I think we go from growing together in there, which just sort of has like skyscrapers on, which I thought looked kind of cute into there. And this is where I'm really coming up with a colour scheme. So we've kind of gone for like a bluey kind of green, sort of turquoisey kind of style. and I thought that would be a really nice sort of flow, completely different to next door where it was sort of yellows and sort of dark browns. Although this does have a lot of dark brown, it does kind of all work in there. I do change the floor out, so the floor, I'm not entirely sure what lot was here originally, and whether it was another lot I created or if it was the original or what, I don't know, but it had this sort of like beige kind of light wood on there, and I didn't particularly like it, so I do end up changing it out later on. But this is a nice little bar area, so as I say, lots of entertaining space coming through into there, and I wanted it to all flow really nicely into there. And then at this point I still thought there were going to be a musician, and so this is where I kind of went for the whole sort of piano, violins kind of. If you want to know why this build is so expensive, there are two 15,000 simoleon violins that are just pieces of artwork. Because your Sims actually can't use them because they are not on the floor. But I would not like to put a 15,000 simoleon violin on the floor. So I put them up on the wall along with some sort of musical kind of themed trophies in here, which I thought worked out really well for a little bit of an entertainment, showing off, boasting, oh, I've won so many awards, like, you know, I'm so good. That's kind of what I was thinking in my head when I was building this part. Now, some of you may have noticed this was actually built a while ago. So this was built before Crystal Creations came out, partly. So you'll see in here there is nothing from that pack at the moment, and then I think it's when we get to the bedrooms that's when the sort of the new Crystal Creations comes in. We don't actually use any of it, so if you don't have that pack, do not worry, you do not need it for this build. I purposely didn't use it, but I so could have. There are some really gorgeous pieces with that pack into there. But this is the sort of dining area. I wanted this to all flow through. So you have like the kitchen going out to the bar, to like the dining table, and coming round to sort of the living area. In here, I wanted it to all sort of flow really nicely together. And then this actually is the sort of living area. And I've kind of what I did in the last one, where I kind of created a sort of a custom kind of console area. This seems to be quite popular right now. I don't really know how. I mean, they can watch television, that's fine. How much you can use the speakers, I'm not entirely sure, but I really like this sort of look, and using these ones from, I think it's the Home Hustle, I think is the pack which these counters came from. We used a lot of this stuff in the kitchen, but we didn't use any of the counters. But in here, I think this works out really well. It gives me that nice sort of dark wood, sort of mahogany sort of wood tone that kind of matches in the doors, and it also matches the floor into here, and it just makes it feel a little bit more lived in, a little bit more kind of useful, kind of versatile as a little space. You did see me change one of the swatches of the windows. Now I know we can change all of the windows, and I've seen a lot of people who have created apartments change the windows. That looks great, but from the outside it doesn't look right. And I try to keep things as realistic as possible. So if you have an apartment building and one layer of windows is completely off, it just doesn't feel right to me. So I've kept them all the same, barring obviously I changed one of the swatches. I think it was a white one, and it just didn't feel right on the inside. But obviously it's easy enough to change back so that it's the same as what it is on the outside. But yeah, there we are using the wonderful items from the deluxe kit. Now this is a kit I absolutely love. Some of these pieces, the sofas, the sort of coffee tables, I think we used the bar as well from that pack. It's just such a nice dreamy sort of colour, and because I knew I wanted it in that sort of the blues to kind of come through, I thought this sort of swatch of this sofa would be perfect. So that's what we've gone for in here, and it kind of ties in with the rug and lots of other pieces, and there's just little hints of blue. It's not like bright blue, I mean your face, kind of look at me. It's a lot more sort of subtle, kind of muted blues, which I absolutely love, barring part of this rug. I love this rug, but it really needs to kind of just blend in a little bit more. Now this is the main bedroom. So this is the sort of parents' bedroom in here, and I trolled through so many sort of Pinterest boards trying to find inspiration for this bedroom, and I really struggled. What you're not seeing here is probably about an hour's worth of footage that is cut out, because I tried so many different colour ideas, suggestions, like inspiration pictures, and I just could not get them to work. But I kind of went for this sort of more darker kind of wood, sort of dark brown kind of look in here, and I think it works out okay. It's a bit of a contrast to the rest of the build where it's all sort of light and stuff. It's just those sharp walls that I think actually really work for in here. Now we use a lot of the Get Famous stuff, and that was kind of a decision that I kind of took, that at this point they were going to be famous musicians, and there is room in this build for a fourth bedroom. I don't use it as a fourth bedroom, I actually make it as an office, but you don't really need it as an office because there is a computer desk in this bedroom, and I kind of make a creative sort of custom desk over in this little corner here. So you don't really need an office per se, but it doesn't have any windows, it's in the middle of the build, it's kind of in an odd place because it kind of comes straight out the entrance sort of hallway. It feels better as an office. I was kind of umming and ahhing about making like a recording studio, kind of like a musician's, but I could not get that to work in game. If anyone has created a kind of recording studio sort of look, definitely let me know, because it's something I'm interested in doing. I struggled to come up with the pieces to make it work, so I just sort of aborted essentially, and we placed in another office. It's quite small as well. I think it's like a 3x4, so it is a really tight space. But this is the home little office, so custom desk, because I want it to be a little bit smaller than a normal sort of desk, into here, and then we get in a nice little sofa to have a nice little relaxing area. There is also a armchair in here as well, as is usually customary in any of my bedrooms. We tend to have another little armchair in here. Now, these weird little pop-outs, you're probably wondering, there's quite a few in this build. This has the historic lock tray that's like, it's locked to this build. I can't get rid of it for no reason. It seems weird. It's just something that you're just gonna have to live with. So there's like plaques that they've placed on the wall. I think this build has like 3 of them, and I don't really want any of them, so I've kind of boxed them in a little bit. But this is the pink princess bedroom. Again, you can probably tell this is a Pinterest idea. Into here, so I suddenly came across this gorgeous pink and white bedroom with lots of sort of clouds, and I think it had like unicorns and everything sort of stenciled onto the wall, but it had this kind of like, it was kind of actually more of a shelf. It kind of had like the bed raising up, but I couldn't make the cloud any bigger, and it just didn't really work. So this actually is a base game shelf, and I've just toured it down so that it's still white and stuff, so you've got it on the floor and then you've got it on the wall as well, and I think that actually works out really well. Super cute idea in here. I love it, and it is so pink and so not me that I think it is really cool. I don't know the last time I did a full-on pink bedroom. Yeah, I tend to do boys' bedrooms. I don't know why. They seem easier to me than a pink bedroom. I can't do girls' rooms, I've got to be fair. This one was a struggle, but I love the concept. And you can see I'm having difficulty here because it is a shelf. Things are snapping to it, so I'm having a little bit of difficulty. But we have a chest, sort of bedside table on one side, and then we have this little desk on the other for their homework. And then we have some teddies, a little unicorn, a little teddy bear on the bed here as well. You may have to remove those to make the bed usable. I didn't playtest the bed. I have got them to go in and do certain things. You'll see those in the screenshots. To be fair, there is a lot more screenshots than what you actually see at the end. I kind of went overboard as usual, and I think there's probably maybe like 30 photos, and I've just picked the best ones that show off different pieces in here. Now this is the teenage boy's bedroom. This is a little bit of a weird one because it's basically a whole wall of windows, and then there's like these two on the side, which made placing anything really, really difficult. So in between these two bedrooms there is actually a bathroom. I didn't record the bathrooms because they're rather boring, and working in such small spaces is not the best because I move around so much. I move around a lot anyway, and that's just kind of my build style. But smaller spaces even more so. But in here, the image that I got was of a kind of a bed that kind of had like a built-in kind of headrest that sort of went all the way up the wall and then like shelving on it. And it had like a pattern, kind of like what is behind here. It was kind of a little bit more basic than that, but I thought it would work out really, really nicely as sort of a headboard, sort of detail work on the back of the bed. So that's kind of what I did in here. And then that orange or bright orange chair I absolutely love. It's just that solid pop of colour. I do change out the rug under here, you'll see it here, because it was a little bit too plain and I wanted a really dark sort of navy rug, which this one here worked out really, really well for. And I think those colours, that sort of navy and the bright orange, really worked. I have just made a clinical error, and I know when I did it, I had to move the chair forward slightly, which now means you can't use the other side of the bed, but your Sims can sort of shuffle over the bed, so that's not too much of a problem in there. It just makes it a little bit tight to kind of get round, so I don't think they can, but I did have a Sim sit and lay in the bed, so that works. But as I say, it is just for a teenage boy, so they're not going to have or need to have another person in that bed, so it's absolutely fine. They can just sleep on one side. This is a tiny little office, as I said. Yeah, I kind of wanted like a built-in kind of cupboards where you kind of had lots of like knickknacks and like sort of storage boxes and books and some really nice sort of pieces all around here. In the end I kind of had to go for just some shelving and these kind of hallway tables. There is two of them here, but they work really well, kind of smooshed together slightly. And this is an actual stool, but it works out really well, and it kind of works against the other kind of statue orb thing. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. It has some really cool swatches though. So yeah, I just use that little stool. Obviously your Sims will not be able to sit in it, but that's kind of not the point. It's just a nice wicker sort of ball to go into there. And then, as I say, lots of sort of storage boxes, knickknacks and books and things like that pulled out into here as well, just to have that really cool sort of space and backdrop, because if they do a lot of sort of meetings at home or sort of web calls or things like that, I feel like you would need a really cool background. And obviously I know nowadays everybody's working from home, and you all have those amazing backdrops, right? Yeah. No, so I wanted to create something a little bit different and a little bit cooler for them in there, rather than just maybe a plain boring wall in there. So yeah, lots of bits and pieces. And I also get out a piece of artwork from the collection here. I think this is actually Sitting Living. I can't see the little tab in the bottom corner. Yeah, I think it is. Which also works out really well with that sort of blue kind of look that we're going for. And then I just tilt it forward slightly so that it looks like it stands up there perfectly well. And then their desk. Now, this is a really, really tight space. I have a feeling your sim will be able to get round there. I do hope they can. If not, it might just need to be smooshed up to one side a little bit. But this, I did say, could have been a bedroom, but it was really too small. It was in sort of the wrong place, and I thought an office in here would be a better option. But we are very, very quickly coming up to the end of this video. So if you have enjoyed this, then please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. You all mean so very, very much to me. And I will be back next Tuesday with another speed build. But until then, enjoy the screenshots, and I will see you all again really, really soon. But until then, stay happy and stay building. Bye everyone!